RC car on the Drone Camps channel, you know we're gonna make it fly. Hey guys, welcome back to the Drone Camps channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Optimus XL ready to run buggy RC car from our friends over at GearBest. This is made by DHK Hobby. I've seen these around YouTube, and some of the videos about this Optimus XL are actually pretty cool, but I wanted to take it a step further, and you know, I have to jump stuff, and I want to make sure that things are durable for you guys and really put them through the ringer and test them really well before I can recommend anything to you guys. I'm going to let you know whether it's good or bad, all that good stuff and all the bad stuff here about this car. So it's dirty as crap right now. I've already been out and drove it so I can give you a proper review. It's not brand new out of the box, so I'm going to put it on the bench. We're going to talk about a few things on this RC car, tell you what's special about it, and show you some of the stuff that's included in this box. This is the box that you get, a pretty large box, and it has some awesome stuff inside. So let's go ahead and put this on the bench and take a closer look at the Optimus XL. All right guys, here it is sitting on the bench, and you're looking at the profile, the side view of this Optimus XL. It's pretty awesome. I like the thin profile of this car, and I love the way it's made. When I first pulled it out of the box, I was pretty impressed with all the aluminum upgraded parts that are on it, shocks, the dog bones and all that stuff on there. The wheels, I was wondering if they were going to be, the rims actually, I was wondering kind of if they were going to be durable out in the field in my testing and some of the jumps that we did with this. I'm going to say, I'm not sure how much of a racer this car is, but I know it is a damn good basher. If you're looking for something to bash around and do jump ramps and all that cool stuff, this thing will jump like 15-20 feet in the air or higher. It is extremely fast and extremely durable. It took some hits during my driving test that I couldn't believe that it drove away from. This thing cartwheels all over the ground, front to end, end over end, and it actually lands and keeps on racing. So that is pretty impressive. It has standard size tires which you can swap out, and it is on that 1/8 scale. So it's a pretty big car. It's actually pretty heavy. And the tires, they're pretty firm. I wouldn't say they were race tires. They're actually really dense foam inside these tires, a little knobby sort of track tires, but they're probably better if they're a little bit softer for racing. But then again, like I said, I'm not really sure this is a race car. It's more of a basher. So let me turn it around and show you the front view of this car. Now you're looking at it from the front, and you can see the suspension up front. You can see this little kick plate in the front. You can see these aluminum shocks here, and they do have oil inside them. So you can also change the tension of them by adjusting this right here on the front of each aluminum shock, and you can adjust the height of it. So if you're running in really tall grass, you can make this car stand up taller. If you're running on more like concrete or really hard packed dirt, you can make the car sit lower as well. So that's pretty cool that you have those options to be able to change the height and the suspension. I found out that the suspension and all the parts up in here, all of these gears up in here hold up really well during the crashes. I could not believe when I tested this, jumping it off the house multiple times, that all of these parts inside here held up. I've had other cars in the past, like my ECX Ruckus, one of my favorite little trucks, but it seems like every time I drove it, something on it broke, and I'm always waiting for parts in the mail. So all these parts inside here, they're really durable, hard plastic. Not even this little kick plate broke. So I'm pretty impressed, and all the bolts stayed on here, and nothing seemed to break. It's absolutely amazing. So in the back, you do have this optional wing that you can put on it. You can take it off if you want to. It just goes on with a couple clips, and that's the only thing you have to put on this car out of the box. Just charge the batteries up, put some batteries in the transmitter that comes along with it, and you're ready to roll with this car. So this is pretty cool. So let's go ahead, take another look at another angle on the car, and then I'll pop the top on it for you and show you the inside. So here's the little rear view of the car, and you can see this wing up here, and like I said, it's only attached by a couple of little pins up here on the very top, and there's a couple aluminum pieces along this standoff. You can take these two off if you don't want to run a wing on it, but I find out that this wing actually protects the canopy a little bit on top of the car when you do crash, because this hits the ground first. So it's kind of nice to have something up here that you can kind of bash around without tearing up your canopy. And it's amazing how durable and how well this canopy survived some of the crashes that we had. We crashed into a fence. We crashed all over hard packed ground with clay surface. So it was actually really hard ground that we were crashing into. And then we crashed into a huge pile of dirt a few times, and it seemed to do pretty well. I'm not sure what these two things are right here. I really don't know what they are. They don't have a hole through the front, so they don't whistle or anything when you drive it. They're just kind of there for decoration, I guess. But you have this same style suspension in the back with your dog bone, standard dog bone back there. You have really hard industrial plastic, same type of parts, and drive shaft back here. All the pinions and everything inside here as well didn't pop out. They held up really, really well in my test, so I'm pretty happy with all the parts that are on here, and they are interchangeable. So you can buy some of these standard parts off of some of the other websites out there if you can't find it on GearBest. So that's a cool thing. If you wanted to upgrade these tires, they're standard size tires, so you can do that. That's actually pretty awesome. Okay, now we sort of have a little drone's eye view of the Optimus XL. You can see the canopy up here. It holds on with 2 pins right here and here, and you can get replacement pins for that as well if you happen to lose those. You also have your front suspension and your rear suspension, and it's pretty good here, the action on the suspension. Now the suspension could be softened up a little bit. It's a little bit tight, I felt like, but it's gonna probably not flip as much if you loosen the suspension up a little bit. And right now it being very firm, it's great for hard pack, but when you're doing donuts and stuff, we found out that this really kind of tight suspension does flip over quite easily on some rougher ground. So be aware of that if you decide to drive this one. Now your 2.4 antenna comes up out of here, and it has a pretty decent range on this radio. I was pretty impressed with how far away I could actually drive this car. I mean, I drove it all the way across my friend's field out in his farm, and all the way up a hill on the other side while the dogs were chasing it. That was actually pretty neat. You'll see that coming up in our drive test. And this controller, like I said, it's running on 2.4, so you have a really nice signal to the car. I'd never lost signal to it at any time. But the cool thing about this car also is that it does have, like drones have, it has a fail-safe on here. So if you drive it out of range, it's not going to keep going on you. It's actually going to stop what it's doing and just shut everything off. So it'll come to a stop, and that's actually pretty cool. Now this transmitter, let's take a little closer look at the back of this transmitter. You have a pretty simple steering wheel here with a rubber grip, and on the back we have throttle dual rates. So this is really cool. I was showing a friend of mine this. You can turn it all the way back to the left, all the way down, and this thing slows down like something very, very, very slow, like a kid could drive. So that's really neat. If you want to let your little boy or little girl drive this car, you can do that. And this car is pretty big. Just turn the throttle dual rate all the way back, and it's going to drive like 2 miles an hour. It was actually really, really docile. And then the further up you turn this knob, it'll actually go faster and faster and faster. All the way up is going to give you full throttle and the full amount of power in this power system. So that's pretty cool. And you also have this ST dual rates over here on this side, ST trim and throttle trim here. You also have your on-off button right here, and it shows you your power levels right here. And you can also change around your servos here. You can do reverse or normal. And up here is your standard pistol grip style controller. That's going to give you your throttle here and push forward for reverse. Now it takes a second or two to kick into reverse. It doesn't automatically spin into reverse, so that's kind of cool. It gives you a moment. And then on the very bottom of this transmitter, we have 4 AA batteries that it takes inside. I'd like to see a LiPo in here or some kind of NiCad, maybe for future versions of controllers from DHK, but hey, that's easily accessible to swap out those batteries, and you can just go run down to the store and get some new batteries, which is kind of nice. Now it also does have a charge jack on the side right here for a DC charger, so I'm not sure how we can charge this up. Maybe, there's some batteries that you can get from DHK out there that will support this charge jack on the side, so that's pretty cool. If somebody knows about that, be sure to comment in the comments below. I'll go ahead and take the top off for you guys and look at how blinged out this thing is inside here. You have all kinds of reinforcement inside here, and look at the bottom really quick before we start talking about the inside. Look at the skid plate on the bottom. Boom. This thing looks super durable. It looks like a skateboard plate on the bottom of this. This is super, super durable, and I have scratches on here already from so much driving that we've done with it. Really a very, very durable plate, and you have all your different components mounted to that plate. So if you need to work on this, it's nice. You can use an Allen wrench on here, and there's a combination of Allen nuts on here, Allen bolts, and Phillips head style screws in here as well. So you'll need those two different tools to work on this one. But let's go ahead and flip it over now, and they have these standard Dean's connectors in here. Let me zoom in just a little bit closer and I'll show you that. So here's a closer look at the inside, and all this stuff in here is waterproofed. When I say waterproofed, maybe water resistant. I would rather say water resistant. You can probably drive this through mud puddles and things like that and have fun with it when it's a little bit wet outside, but I wouldn't drive this into a swimming pool, guys. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the interior components here. Right away we see these two Dean's connectors here, and the two batteries that come with it are actually 3200 7.4 volts. So you're running two S batteries, 3200 together in here in parallel. So it's about a total of 4 S here that we're running, so that's pretty sweet. You have around a 15 to 20 minute drive time on those batteries, so there's tons of drive time right out of the box, which I like a lot. I think that's definitely a win. It seemed like the batteries just kept going. So right here in the center, I wish this was kind of on the side so I could get to it a little easier when I get everything locked down. I would like to be able to not have to take the canopy off to get this on and off button, so I might relocate that on the side somehow, but it comes right here, and that's how you turn the car on and off. You also have these little clips right here in the very center on this little plate, and those will hold down your wires so that they're nice and tucked down when you put the canopy on, and that's a nice detail from DHK that I like a lot. So you can have a little more clean setup here when you go to put the top on. Now these two little pins right here, if you take those off, these are the little bars that swing arms that fold over and hold your batteries in place. And your batteries just go on just like this, and they sit right on top of each other, and then those swing arms fold over and lock back into place when you're ready to start driving. And those are pretty easy to take on and off. So one of the biggest advantages of this RC car is the power system itself. We'd have an 80 amp speed controller back here running a brushless motor here, which has a metal gear on the very front of it, and really nice industrial flywheel up inside here, right in the center, leading up to the front and the rear. So you have four-wheel drive on this car as well. Running LiPo on here also increases the power by 4 in my opinion versus NiCad batteries. So you get a huge power increase running LiPos on this car. Now the servo up at the very front, the drive servo, is actually a metal geared servo, so you're going to get nice durability out of this because there's a lot of tension on this front wheels when you do some steering and you're crashing. So it's very good that this is a nice durable servo. Having metal gears inside it makes a big difference. And last but not least, here are the accessories that come along with your car. This is nice because a lot of you guys buying ready to run cars probably don't have a lot of tools, so you're going to need something to take your tires off with, and they provided that. This kind of industrial plastic wrench that's going to be able to take these nuts off the end of your tire so you can swap these out or put new ones on. And like I said, you have a standard size tire here, so you can use just about any 1/8 scale tire on this one, and you can put those on your car using this little tool here. So that's kind of nice to include that. And you have this V3 charger. It charges 2 to 3S batteries on here. You have this 2S port on this side and 3S over here. It takes a standard AC adapter straight into your wall outlet there, and that comes along with it in the box, as well as a manual for the charger. It's really nice that they include a manual for just about everything on this car. Right here is the controller user manual, so you have all that information in here in English. It's all written out for you. It also has some interesting information about another style controller in here, which is an LCD transmitter. I didn't know that version was optional, but it seems to be. You can get that from DHK. And also in here, this is really, really nice that they include this electronic speed controller manual, so you can understand and learn how this speed controller works on this car, how to program it, and all that good stuff. You can also learn about what the max voltage is for that ESC. And this is the Optimus XL instruction manual, user manual. It has all kinds of information in here about your batteries that you can use. It's all in English and very well written. It also talks about all the parts and part numbers in here. It also has exploded diagrams and schematics for doing repairs on the front and the rear, and as well as the center of the car. So it's all really nicely laid out in here, and this is your parts diagrams with your part numbers on here if you needed to order new parts. So I gotta say, this is a pretty nice package from them, and I'll put the link down below if you want to look at further specs on this car. But for right now, guys, I had a lot of fun with this, and I took it out to a friend's farm to play around with this in a big open field, and we got a little crazy with this car, and we wanted to really find out how durable it was, so we jumped it off a house. Stay tuned for that drive test coming right up. You think it's gonna make it, you guys? Yes or no?
Oh yeah!
Yeah! All right, it's not broke, so we have to try it again. Let's go. Let's do this. Whenever you're ready. Oh! Yeah, yeah! Yeah, that's freaking awesome! Oh! Yeah! Yeah! And it's still going. That was awesome, Eli. Sweet deal. Little victory donut. Yeah! Yes! Woo! Yeah, dude! So let's see if it's still working after that. Turn it on real quick. Dude, that was epic. Fist bump.
Yeah!
Yeah, dude. That was awesome. Now the dog's gonna get it.
Victory run.
Victory lap, that's right.
I guess so.
The only damage we did was crack the frame, that's it. So it's still running. Dogs are still chasing it. I'm not totally sure about the runtime. I think the runtime is probably going to be something like 20 to 25 minutes possibly. Yeah, we've been running it forever and it's still going. Full throttle down the hill. Oh.